What is up, guys? Rick Kakas here, and today we are going to be showcasing all of the Trials of the Nine Weapons and ranking them from the worst to the best so that you guys are better informed in terms of what to look for and what to utilize. And so, just before we get started, I want to say that my opinion is just that, my opinion, and I'm going to have different preferences compared to all of you watching. So if you put a huge emphasis on pulse rifles, you love them, and I don't like them as much, we're going to weight that gun differently. So just keep that in mind, and feel free to tell me your rankings in the comments section down below. In fact, type them in now and see how close you came to mine. Also, I want to mention that for this video, we're not going to be ranking the power weapons, the sniper rifle and the shotgun. And that's just because they're very hard to compare with the traditional kinetic and energy weapons. A shotgun is going to beat a sidearm pretty much every time if you have ammo, but you can go an entire round without ever getting ammunition. A quick review of both of them: the sniper is pretty decent, I really like Outlaw on it, however the zoom is kind of what kills this weapon in PvE. It's a very high zoom optic, and that's not what you want. The shotgun, on the other hand, is quite good. It's one of the weapons that makes the most of that Trials of the Nine slideways perk, because sliding will increase the range with this weapon, which is exactly what you want. It's also very high damage. But moving on from there, let's start the ranking, beginning here with the worst Trials of the Nine weapons, and that is a Swift Verdict Sidearm. Now, this weapon actually isn't that bad. In fact, all of the Trials weapons are probably going to be better than your average legendary. But compared to the other Trials weapons, this sidearm suffers from a few things. Mainly, it is a high damage, low rate of fire sidearm, which isn't that amazing in the current environment in PvP and frankly in PvE as well. The triple burst Omalon sidearms right now are actually really competitive, and more people are realizing this, leaving this other archetype kind of in the dust. When compared to the triple burst archetype, you're going to lose a lot of gunfights if you're using a Swift Verdict. It just isn't in a great place right now. It does make really good use of that slideways perk, but the other perks are kind of lackluster. Moving on from there, the second worst Trials weapon is the Relentless Pulse Rifle. And I feel bad giving this ranking because there isn't necessarily anything too wrong with this gun. Sometimes it actually pumps out huge damage and you can kill people very fast, and they certainly don't expect to be killed with this weapon. It functions out to medium, even longer range engagements. But the reason this weapon is ranked as low as it is just because it's a pulse rifle. Pulse rifles aren't in a great spot right now, and that's even more of a factor for the high damaging pulse rifles, which this weapon is one of. It has the intrinsic perk High Impact Frame. So the problem is that you just lose every gunfight to Mida multi-tools. You really do. Scout rifles are in a great place right now, and the Mida with its high caliber rounds won't just cause you to flinch off a shot, but you'll flinch off an entire burst, which is, if you do that, you're just dead. If pulse rifles get a buff, or if the Mida gets toned down a bit, definitely give this weapon a second look, however. Next up, we have the Judgement hand cannon, and this is the ranking I'm most unsure about. I think you could easily place this one above the next weapon to come, because the Judgement is a very good hand cannon. I don't use or even like hand cannons that much in Destiny 2, and I liked the Judgement. It's crisp, you land your shots, and the best part is that the slope down of damage seems to be pretty long. Now, what I'm saying by that is that you won't do your maximum damage for too long. Hand cannons in Destiny 2, they don't have the greatest ranges, but you're going to have a pretty gradual slope. Yes, you won't be doing your max damage, but you'll only be doing a few damage less. And I was finding that even at relatively far ranges, I was still hitting above 50 damage for a headshot. And I was very pleasantly surprised by that, and definitely that's a huge point in the Judgment's favor. If you do like hand cannons, this is really good. I would urge you to try it out. But in the grand scope of things, hand cannons right now aren't the most competitive. In PvE, you're looking for something like the better devils with explosive rounds. That's just so important. The Judgement doesn't have that, so it's not going to fare that well there. And in PvP, arguably, you're better off with just a 450 rounds per minute auto rifle. They are really in a great place right now, and having a hand cannon over one of those, that is a hard pill to swallow. However, like I said at the beginning of the video, that is personal preference. But moving on from there, we have the third best Trials weapon, and that is the Adjudicator submachine gun. There's no doubt about it, this weapon is just fantastic. It's one of arguably the best SMG in Destiny right now, and the reason being is because it's a 600 rounds per minute submachine gun. That doesn't happen very often, almost never, and because of that, it has much better range than most submachine guns, and it has much better damage. You couple that with a bunch of perks like Precision Frame as an intrinsic perk, and Dynamic Sway Reduction, and this weapon is mowing down people at ranges you didn't think SMGs could mow down people. In close range, you are going to absolutely melt. It's going to kill people faster than auto rifles, faster than hand cannons, faster than a lot of sidearms, frankly, as well. This thing is a close to medium range monster, and it's an excellent option if you're running a pulse rifle or even a slower auto rifle or definitely a scout rifle in that energy position. I expect to see more and more of this weapon as people figure out how good it is, and if you do like to play aggressively, this is one of your best options out there, frankly. Now, the hand cannon we just looked at is a better overall weapon. It functions out to much further ranges, and that's why I was kind of unsure about my ranking, but the Adjudicator in combination with something like a scout rifle, and you only take out the Adjudicator when you're close range, this thing just has the power potential you want for those scenarios. Now, moving on from there, the second best Trials of the Nine weapon is the End Scout Rifle. This thing is very effective. Right off the bat, it's not as good as the Mida. No scout rifle is as good as the Mida. But it's not actually competing directly with the Mida, and that's a very strong point for this weapon. It's an energy scout rifle. Scout rifles in general are in a great place right now, and this is a legitimately fantastic option to use. Hits pretty hard, and it's very accurate. You have precision frame, so it's very easy to land your shots. You have a couple of really good perks in terms of reloading. This weapon has auto-loading holster, so you can switch to another weapon, switch back to it, it'll automatically be reloaded. It also has pulse monitor, which will reload a portion of the magazine if you're critically wounded. So if you're 1v1ing someone, and both of you are low health, and you have to reload and they have to reload, yours is going to reload automatically so you can keep shooting. Trust me, this does bail you out of a couple of times you should definitely die, and it does come in clutch. But overall, this is just such a powerful and easy to use scout rifle. Running this in your energy slot frees up your kinetic slot for a bunch of more options. So again, it's not directly competing with the Mida. It's not like you have to choose a kinetic scout rifle, the Mida, or this. The Mida would win every time. But if you want to run a different kinetic, the Origin Story auto rifle, for example, a fantastic gun, you can't use the Mida anyways. So you might as well use arguably the second best scout rifle in the game right now, the End. However, moving on from there, and by process of elimination, I'm sure a lot of you know what we're going to say, but the best Trials of the Nine weapon right now in Destiny 2 is the Prosecutor auto rifle. This type of auto rifle, the 450 rounds per minute auto rifle, is just taking over the game right now. They're incredibly effective in PvP. They're incredibly effective in PvE. They're just such solid, powerful, fast-killing, stable, accurate weapons all around. I don't think the Prosecutor is the best auto rifle overall. I honestly don't. I think the Origin Story edges this weapon out. However, in PvP 101, this might kind of have a place, or at least an arguable place, at the top slot. It's very accurate. Precision frame and tap the trigger make this thing just very good at landing your shots on the opponent. which is exactly what you want. And against other auto rifles without tap the trigger, those opening few milliseconds of a gunfight, arguably the most important, you are gonna have the edge, and that should definitely not be overlooked. Additionally, this weapon, being an energy weapon, is fantastic. I remember when I was leveling up my characters, the highest power level energy weapon I had was a Drang Sidearm. Being able to take that off and put on this Prosecutor was night and day. Running Nightfalls was so much easier with the Prosecutor, and that should definitely not be overlooked. The fact that you have an energy weapon this good, this easy to use, and that's dropping at this high of light levels, this is going to be a Nightfall star for a long time to come. Let's also not forget that energy weapons do more damage against enemy supers in PvP. That is also where the Prosecutor very often comes in clutch. And so guys, there you have it. My rankings for the Trials of the 9 Weapons. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it informative, had a little bit of fun. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. Now, if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKakis. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.